He's never fought us. Not us united.
My favorite moment in the entire... Maybe I should complicate this before I start speaking here.
Welcome to Under Two Capes. I'm Jared, and today, first off, I'm here with my buddy Nick from the Phoenix Press. What's up, dude?
It's a sad day.
It's a bittersweet day because the day we've all been dreading is upon us. Henry Cavill has announced and confirmed that he won't be coming back as Superman, which
The soup is
sucks.
dead.
The soup is dead. And pretty much confirms that James Gunn is going to do a complete reboot, which, let's be clear one thing. When James Gunn came on, let me put it this way, we never really thought that the SnyderVerse itself was going to be restored, like, completely.
We had hope.
We had hope, and to be clear, if they ever decided to do an Elseworlds thing, let me put it this way, the only way it could happen now is if they decided to do like a Black Label thing. But
like, let's be perfectly honest here. The SnyderVerse never really died. Like, even Black Adam was still holding the SnyderVerse continuity. Was still holding the characters that were made in SnyderVerse related or adjacent films. So the SnyderVerse, like, if you really want to be liberal about the term SnyderVerse, as in like the whole universe, the world created, and then like taken on by Suicide Squad, it really survived up until Black Adam.
It survives up until Flash, up until I would say Aquaman, assuming they keep the release date, is the last SnyderVerse film. But
yeah, and that's also kind of something that I touched upon on Twitter. Like, what's even the point of watching Flashpoint or Aquaman now?
We'll talk about that in a second. But so what could still happen, which could very well still happen, is that they could bring Snyder back on to direct, produce, co-write a DC project. Maybe not Justice League, but let me put it this way. This does not preclude Snyder coming in and lending his creative talents to DC. Not at all.
He's still on good terms with Warner Brothers. That much is obvious.
And with James Gunn. Because let's face it, by the way, do not blame James Gunn for having to do this, because you know who you have to blame? The old Warner Brothers regime who sabotaged the universe so severely that the best option was to reboot.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel, because, like, yeah, it's tragic that we're losing the Snyderverse, but if you kind of just take it from, like, a mile-high viewpoint, it actually does make a lot of sense, because, like, this whole continuity is just such a mess, and, like, sure, you could untangle it, and, like, yeah, you got these actors that people love, but honestly, probably the best way to do it is just burn it all to the ground, you know, hold the visual if you want to, but then just start anew, you know, and do the Marvel Phase 1 thing. But I think that I'm cautiously optimistic is how I'd like to describe my opinion.
Me too. Here's what we can be proud of. We did the impossible. We got the Snyder Cut. So
yeah,
be proud of that, because that never happens. That
is an accomplishment. That alone is worthy of Valhalla.
This exists because of us, okay? So even if we're not getting JL 2 and 3, we can at least say that we redeemed Zack Snyder. Because if this had not come out, I get the feeling we would not have he would not be at given complete creative freedom at Netflix.
The Snyder Cut proved that bringing in Whedon was the biggest mistake. Like how they handled it was completely wrong. Like even if we were never like even if we would have gotten a 3-hour version of the Snyder Cut, it still would have been leagues better than the version that will not be named.
Because there's enough to cut out of that it would have still told the competent story. And that's what I'm going to say, because I'm going on, Nerdette and I are going to do a collab on her channel where it's called Humanizing Snyder Fans. And I'm going to go on there, explain why I like Snyder stuff. And I'm going to outline the pattern of sabotage. Because remember, here's an interesting fact. So Snyder was going to do originally a Superman trilogy, and Superman 2 would have been Superman as the more classic Superman. But Warner Brothers came in and said, we want Justice League now, so Get BVS and get Justice League now. That's why you had the Man of Steel going immediately to Batman v Superman.
And remember, Justice League, the version we got, was supposed to be part 1.
Yeah, exactly. So that's really that's the main point here. But once again, we got the Snyder Cut. You know what? No one can ever take these films away from us because they exist, and I have all of them on physical. I'm gonna.
I hear Zaslav himself is coming to your house to take your copy of the Snyder Cut.
Oh yeah,
him and his thirsty axe.
Yeah, but and I plan on ordering the trilogy as soon as possible on DVD, so I can have that. I have to have that. But yeah, no one can ever take these movies away from us. Just like how they can't take away Christopher Reeve's Superman away from us too. That's it. And I think Cavil will go down as, again, this generation's Christopher Reeve is one of the best actors to ever portray Superman.
Yeah, again, honestly, I mean, the whole entire Trinity that we got here.
Trinity, yeah.
40 years from now, in the year 2060, they will still be talking about Henry Cavill Superman. I mean, just look at, people are still talking about Christopher Reeve as Superman. They're still talking about Adam West's portrayal as Batman. Like, literally 60 years after Batman TV show, his Batman is still talked about regularly.
Yeah. And also, and I get the feeling that as time gets past, people are going to start looking more favorably on the SnyderVerse in general, because they'll be
it's going to happen. It's already starting to happen.
It's already started. Let me put it this way. The Snyder Cut started the process of people going, maybe this wasn't as bad as I thought it was.
I mean, you've already have people starting to go back to Man of Steel and reevaluating it, and people seeing it for the good movie it is.
Plus, also, here's the thing. If you look at, articles from when Man of Steel came out, everyone called it a hit. They said, oh, gosh, this is bringing Superman into this is making Superman a relevant character again.
Yes, and while I do personally like Superman Returns, I think its biggest problem was it was too hamstrung by the past. They were too obsessed with, I love Christopher Reeve Superman, and I do enjoy Superman Returns.
We'll talk about that on movie night, I think. We have to. Yeah,
at some point. But basically, to kind of summarize it, it's homage to the point of pastiche. That's my opinion. It ventures into the pastiche a little bit too much of trying to recreate the Reeves feelings. It goes too far. It goes from homage into pastiche, which is not good.
And I think that's why a lot of people had a lot of Superman fans had a negative reaction to Man of Steel, because they wanted it to be another Christopher Reeves. And I never wanted that, because here's the thing. If I wanted to watch Christopher Reeve Superman, I'd watch Christopher Reeve Superman.
And I'm gonna say a hot take that you might hate. I do feel like if you had cast Brandon Routh in Man of Steel, he may not have done as good of a job as Henry Cavill, but it would have been really close. He could have done a really good job.
Oh yeah,
Man of Steel.
That's not a
Henry
hot take.
Cavill was a better actor, but Brandon Routh, if you put him in Man of Steel with that script, and literally not change a single thing,
he could do it.
He could have done a great job. Henry Cavill,
I don't disagree on that at all, dude.
Objectively, Henry Cavill was a better pick, but Brandon Routh was he would have been really close.
He was close there. I liked his Superman. I like this way. I enjoyed Superman Returns for what it was. Granted, I hated the suit.
We've seen enough of Brandon Routh's acting range to know he could have pulled off the Man of Steel version of Superman easily.
Yeah, but again, they wanted a complete reboot, and plus, if you're an actor associated with a movie that objectively wasn't popular, even if you were actually amazing in that movie, they're not going to bring you back.
Yeah, and also the biggest problem with Man of Steel is you have Kevin Spacey as Lex Luthor, which while he's good in that movie, it's kind of hard looking at him now.
Yeah, but so what's important? But my point still stands that that people wanted Christopher Reeve Superman again, and here's the thing about it. Superman has not been Christopher Reeve since Crisis on Infinite Earths. Let's face it. What we saw was post-Crisis New 52 style Superman.
And honestly, I've been saying this for over a decade now, Henry Cavill is actually probably closer to the a Reeves, like Henry Cavill feels more like a modern day Reeves than Brandon Routh did.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a person who loves Brandon Routh's portrayal. It's just, if you watch Man of Steel, like, because Man of Steel is like the last pure Superman film, BVS kind of got him into like the angry territory. But
Because it was a Batman movie.
Yeah, but just going off of Man of Steel, he's got like that honest good, like he's got kind of like that honest goodness that Christopher Reeve just did naturally.
He still has the goodness.
Yeah, like you see, I'm just a boyfriend. Like my favorite line from Man of Steel is, "I'm from Kansas, Senator. It's about as American as it gets." Like,
yes.
That is a quintessential Superman line.
That's exactly what Superman would say. He's like, I grew up in Kansas, General. I'm about as American as you can get.
Like that is very much a Reeves line. That is very much like I can completely see Christopher Reeves saying that exact line, you know. And I feel like Henry Cavill had like the essence of Christopher Reeve, but with a bit more of a modern edge, a bit more of a modern sheen to it, you know. Basically, Christopher Reeve Superman reinterpret like through a modern day lens is how I see it.
Yeah. And that's what Snyder was supposed to do. That's what Nolan said he will do to Superman what I did to Batman. High praise coming from the dude that for many people defined Batman. Even if he was deliberately going away from like the comic book part of Batman, which is fine because Batman's one of the characters that you can do that really well because Batman's so grounded.
A quick aside, I don't know if you noticed it, but there's kind of been a bit of a reevaluation going on with the Nolan films where they're actually starting to go down.
Yeah.
Like, people are actually kind of starting to criticize it more. I mean, I think that's kind of natural. You know, like what goes up goes down, down comes up. You know, everything kind of goes in.
Because when you have lines where I'm not going to kill you, but I don't have to save you, or like Batman espousing that he doesn't kill, but he rams the Batmobile into a truck so much that the truck shoots up and crushes the cabin, killing the driver. I'm like, there are blatant contradictions in those movies to Batman's own moral rule that he looks like a hypocrite.
At least in the Keaton movies, they don't make a big deal about having no killing rule. Like that was more imposed. Well, yeah. So that's why, like with the Keaton movies, like sure, people impose the no killing rule on Keaton. But there really is nothing mentioned in the films about him not killing people. It doesn't really make a big deal about not killing people. So the fact that he kills people, while it's ironic, is in the context of the movie, it's like, whatever. He's not.
Because here's the thing. Batman's never had a no killing rule. He's had a no murder rule. That was his whole thing with Red Hood. Because what Red Hood wanted to do a lot of the time was murder. And he's like, you can't do that because then we're no good better than the supervillain, than the people we fight. But going back to the SnyderVerse. So, I mean, granted, yes, it's very sad that we'll never get to see Snyder's arc. Well, we could if DC Comics decides to actually do a black label comic book series. Let me put it this way: there's still a way to see the story with comics. So it's not like it's impossible now for us to ever see that story told.
I mean, I could definitely see that. Like, do a Justice League Part 2 in comic book form with, like, Zack Snyder doing story and then someone else writing it.
Jim Lee or Jason Fabok.
Oh, Jim Lee doing the art would be amazing.
I could see Jim Lee doing, in particular, how he renders Superman with the red eyes.
No.
So
here's what you do. It's Justice League Part 2, written by Zack Snyder and Scott Snyder. With art by Greg Capullo.
Well, that would slap, dude. Greg Capullo.
You get the Snyders working on it. You got the Snyders working on it.
Oh, yeah.
Mr.
Snyder.
Oh, so let's be honest. Scott Snyder could perfectly work with Zack Snyder. Like, the sensibilities are rather similar.
Yeah. But if you read Metal and Death Metal, yeah, they're pretty much the same. But yeah, that'd be really cool. But my point is, you can advocate to DC Comics and say, can you give us because tell me that wouldn't sell.
It would sell very well.
Particular comic written by Zack. You saw what happened when he put Final Crisis, the Absolute Edition, very expensive, in the background of one of his pictures that sold out on Amazon.
Yeah, people thought he was like hinting at something.
Yeah, but all right. Once again,
how much do you want to bet DC was like, hey, so we've got like an overstock of these hardcovers. Can you just put this in like the background of your
That'd be
shelf
great.
and
Yeah,
let the
that'd be great.
fanboys think you're doing it? Please, we're trying to sit. We've got like an overstock. He's like, will I get Snyder Cut? Maybe. Okay.
And they didn't. But all right. And also, here's the thing: at least we know that Snyder is in a better position now because he's happy. He's given complete creative freedom with Rebel Moon, which I'm so hyped for, and like Army of the Dead. They basically just gave Snyder a blank check saying, do whatever the hell you want.
I mean, to be fair, he's done like a couple things for Netflix, and he's got a good groove there. So Snyder has moved on already. He's in a good place. And let's not pretend like Henry Cavill may have like he's out both with Superman and Witcher job, but he's still in the prime of his life. You know, he's gonna find acting gigs. I mean, he just did Enola Holmes 2. He's probably gonna do Enola Holmes 3.
Watch. I posted this on Twitter. I'm like, hey Feige, how about that Squadron Supreme movie?
I know people are trying to cast him as like Hyperion and Sentry.
But wouldn't that be the biggest FU to Warner Brothers if Feige took the Justice League cast and cast him as the Squadron Supreme?
I
directed by
don't.
Zack Snyder.
I don't think that'll happen.
I know.
I think he might be Captain Britain. I think Also, I know the internet's talking about him being the next James Bond. Yes, please.
By the way, it'd be hilarious. All these actors show up in Rebel Moon. They're like, okay, screw it, Snyder, we're with you, bro.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. But like, honestly, Henry Cavill is the next James Bond.
That actually is not. That actually is a very decent casting.
I mean, it's possible now.
But all right, so let me ask you this: What's your favorite SnyderVerse movie, and what's your favorite SnyderVerse moment?
Favorite SnyderVerse movie is probably Man of Steel.
Mm-hmm.
Verse moment. That's a toughie.
Mine is.
Oh no.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's from Batman v Superman, and it's like I'm a friend of your son's.
I figured.
I guess the cape, Just,
no, I love that.
The way that she says that, she's like exasperated but like happy at the same time. It's just such a human moment.
Yeah, my favorites are So my favorite movie, I think you can guess, is Zack Snyder's Justice League. My top 3 favorite moments are Not Impressed. The scene in Man of Steel where he's fighting the world engine is being forced down by all that weight, and you see him like struggle to get up. It keeps like cutting to Metropolis and there's people buried under the buildings. And I like to think because Superman is super hearing, he hears their screams, and that's what motivates him to get up. Like, oh no, they're gonna die. Then my third favorite moment is where Wonder Woman shows up in BVS, even though I wish it wasn't spoiled in the trailers, because the first time seeing the Trinity and that soundtrack starts playing, yeah, it just lowers. Oh, I love Superman going, did you find the spear? I've been a little busy, dude.
Oh no, even better. It's like, is she with you? I thought she was with you. It's just it's like the banter
that's
between
probably
them.
a Super Wonder Bat reference. I always thought about that. I'm like, are you making a reference to the shipping wars?
Nah, it's just.
But you know what? And once again, I'll always have a soft spot in the Snyderverse because that's what gave birth to this whole channel, all these friendships I made, and everything that you guys watch on Comics League was built upon the Snyderverse. If
you'll allow me to go full anime for a moment, are you saying the real reward was the friends you made along the way?
Kind of.
Oh, you literally just said that. You've gone full anime on us.
Now, okay, there's a moment, a thing that I want to talk about. We have to talk about the elephant in the room. I wish James Gunn had saved this announcement, at least the Cavil announcement, until after Aquaman came out, because really you just screwed the other movies, because people are going to think, and Nick, you said it before we start recording, why should I care about Flash, Aquaman, and Shazam if they're just going to reboot?
Oh, yeah, that's the other question, like Shazam, because, like, I don't know, because like
Shazam is the next movie that's coming out.
yeah, and it's like they have stuff that's working. Like Shazam, while not like the biggest earner, is still a pretty solid draw. Aquaman made $1 billion, like that was a legit hit. Let's see here. I mean, I think Black Adam is a disappointment at best.
Apparently there's a director's cut of that's way better too. So I'm like, come on, Warner Brothers, stop it.
You know, I think at worst the Batman is an underperformer. I mean, at worst, you know, like. I mean, let's be honest here. WB literally changes their grand plan every 5 minutes. They can't like this. WB's biggest problem for the last 5 years is they can't commit to a plan. It's like every time they say they're gonna do something, and they start to kind of get their footing. Like they make a big misstep, and then they literally shelve everything. They've done this like three to like. First, it was Snyder. Then it was, Ben Affleck is going to help do things. Then, it was Jeff Johns who's going to, do stuff. And then
they were doing standalone movies.
And then, and then Hamada. Like, the standalone movie, like, Joker made $1 billion. You know, it's like there is good ideas buried in here. It's like there is a path forward, you know. It's just they switch it up every five
Guess what? This doesn't inspire consumer confidence doing another reboot and replacing the characters that people like. Because how do I know you're not going to do it again if it gets rough?
So the SnyderVerse was on its third soft reboot.
Yeah,
third.
That's why I think they should have done a soft reboot.
And they're doing like, I mean, to be fair, they haven't really said, but if they're doing a hard reboot, a soft reboot, but like.
They're doing as soon as I saw James Gunn saying we're going to do a younger Superman hard reboot. That's what that is.
If they do a soft reboot, that's excuse my French, but that's fucking bullshit. Why are we doing a younger Superman? It's like you're just going to pretend certain continuity doesn't exist. It's such a mess.
Yeah, I mean, what's probably going to happen is that they're going to actually have the ending for Flashpoint. In other words, they're going to do the Flashpoint thing where it ends. Now, they did say them going younger for all the actors, does that mean they're doing a new 52 like thing? Because that's what that was. They youngified the Justice League. See,
here's the question though. What are they going to do if Aquaman makes another $1 billion, which could happen? Because the average person, the people that made Aquaman $1 billion, don't necessarily follow this news.
Yeah, so and they'll be pissed if they see Flash and it's like at the end of it, why is Aquaman like painted white and on a bike?
I mean, Jason Momoa is going to be an Aquaman too, so we know that.
No, he's going to be an Aquaman too, but but I'm saying eventually they'll have. But what's kind of messy is they should have moved Aquaman to before Flashpoint, because let me put it this way, Flashpoint would have been the best way to end the universe, but since you have your reboot that's going to recast Jason Momoa, and then you have Aquaman 2, it's very sloppy.
I mean, what they could do is they could just say Aquaman takes place before Flashpoint. They could pull a Black Widow, which if it's just like the next a few months afterwards, that could kind of work.
I still think it's extremely lazy, though.
It's a better solution than just releasing it afterwards, and it's not as messy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm just trying to rationalize things. And then you got stuff that's down the pipe, like Blue Beetle. I mean, Blue Beetle, you might have to do some reshoots, but I imagine the stuff that connects it to the Snyderverse, you could very easily reshoot and replace. So yeah. I don't think I think the Blue Beetle's fine.
From what I know, Blue Beetle only referenced Superman and Supergirl. It didn't really reference the goings on of the universe. It just referenced, hey, there's a Superman and a Supergirl. So I get the feeling they don't really need to change that much to make it fit.
Yeah. I just
But I'm just like, I mean, once again, are they doing like new? In other words, are we getting the Decamu, but live action?
Are we getting Superman in bicycle shorts?
Superman in bicycle shorts? Where was that?
Yeah, you remember the early New 52? He had like those kind of shorts.
No, he didn't.
Okay, this has to be some sort of Mandela effect there. I got to look it up.
Because he did not have the underwear on the outside. It was Kryptonian armor.
I swear there was like a short sleeve kind of thing. I don't know.
He had t-shirts and jeans.
Like I'm looking this up because like
in Action Comics he had t-shirt and jeans.
Oh, okay, this is what I was thinking of. I'm looking at it. Yeah. Okay, that's what I was thinking of. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, he first started off. He had t-shirt and jeans because that was him just starting out. He didn't get the Kryptonian armor until Brainiac invaded.
Also, I'm looking at like the new 52 Superman suit. Yeah, it's a Man of Steel suit. It's pretty much a Man of Steel suit.
Except it's more armor instead of like a bodysuit. It's actually armor.
But like the basic design, the lines, the way the belt
is. Which is why I say when people said that wasn't Christopher Reeves, it wasn't meant to. It's supposed to be the new 52 Superman. That's what David Goyer based it on.
Yeah,
it's very David Goyer because Snyder did not write Man of Steel. Blame your problems on David Goyer.
Yeah, David Goyer, like as I've said this many times, he's a writer where when he's paired with a good director that can kind of keep him in check and guide him, he writes some of the best stuff imaginable. Because remember, David Goyer wrote Blade 2. David Goyer wrote Dark Knight.
What I will say, though, a project I could see David Goyer writing is Green Lantern. Because I've seen him do high sci-fi, and it's fantastic.
You got to pair him with a good director, otherwise he sucks. Because when you leave David Goyer alone, because remember, the same guy who wrote Blade 2 wrote and directed Blade Trinity.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's like... and
you have to pair him with someone who can check him.
Yes, exactly. And a really good director. So it's like... So let's say this movie you have... let's have David Goyer writing a Green Lantern movie. Who would you cast as the director?
The director, Zack Snyder. But I was just kidding. If I can't pick Snyder or Nolan, honestly, I would pick. Let's see. Who would I pick as a Green?
I do have a pick for who I want to direct the next Superman movie.
Who?
Matthew Vaughn.
I could see that. That actually be really fun.
Matthew Vaughn is such a great, solid director. He's such an underrated. Because you remember, this is a guy who directed X-Men First Class. He directed Kick-Ass. He directed Kingsman. This guy knows how to do comic movies, and he could do it. Like he's done both the more like First Class shows. He's good in a PG-13 environment, and he's good in like an R-rated environment.
And he has demonstrated that he can do superheroes, not necessarily all jokey.
Exactly, and I just feel like he's. I want Matthew Vaughn. Like there's Matthew Vaughn, there's Matthew K. Vaughn. It's like they're different people.
But in terms of directors for Green Lantern, I haven't really thought about that. But I do.
David Yates,
maybe. I do agree that David Goyer writing is great if he has someone to check and say, okay, you can't do this, can't do this, can't do this. Now, who I would like as a story advisor, not directing and not writing, is Jeff Johns if we're doing a Green Lantern movie.
Okay.
Not writing and not directing, because he sucks at writing and directing anything that's not Stargirl. We've demonstrated that already.
Which in his defense, the one thing he is good at, Stargirl's actually really good.
Because that's his character, so of course, who's gonna know who's gonna know Stargirl more than the guy that created Stargirl?
Also, isn't that version of the character literally based off of his daughter or sister that sister
of
that
course.
So he has like an emotional vested interest to make sure the character is done right.
And you have to involve him in Green Lantern because that's most of what we get with Green Lantern was created by him.
You know who they should get to concept art for Green Lantern?
Ethan Van Sciver. I agree with you. That'd be great. So that's the point. Now, okay. Now we're going to get into a little bit of fan casting. So who would you want to play Superman? Now, remember, it has to be 25 to 30 years old. And before you say Grant Gustin, we're instituting a rule. You can take the CW actors, but they can't play the equivalent of who they play on the CW. In other words, you can cast Grant Gustin as like a different DC character, but
Jimmy
can't
Olsen?
be the Flash. Yeah, I could see him as Jimmy Olsen, who I would like. I could see Stephen Amell as Batman if they wanted to go. And I still don't think they'll go with the CW actors, but if they were, I could see Stephen Amell playing Batman because that's pretty much who he was playing in Arrow.
The actor who played Archie in Riverdale as Wally West.
Yes.
Flash.
Yes, I could see that. And by the way, that's another thing. I wish that we could get, instead of Barry Allen being the main Flash in this new universe, maybe they could go with Wally West.
Yeah,
I think that'd be fun. A little change.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing we can say about James Gunn, the dude knows comic books. So at least he understands the medium and he's a fan.
Yeah, for sure.
So in terms of Superman, because that's a tough one, honestly, particularly if we're going with a younger Superman, they're not going to do Tom Welling.
I could.
As soon as you started grinning, I was like, oh no.
I was gonna say Brandon Ralph as Superman.
He's too old.
I know, because like we were saying, like CW actors allowed, like Brandon Ralph, CW.
But he's played Superman before, so we can't actually go with that.
I was saying, but he was the Atom. I'm casting like I
no, but he also played Kingdom Come Superman.
I know. I
just like shooting you down all the time. It's so much fun. Yeah, exactly. Give me the
blur, just blur these and make it look like I actually gave you the finger.
That's a tough one, honestly. Superman's a really tough character to cast well.
Yeah. Okay, Wonder Woman.
Okay, Wonder Woman. I could see 25 to 30 years old.
So when I was doing my stream last night, I think it was Jay Heat brought up Lady Sif from the Thor movies, Jamie Alexander.
But is she young enough to play the? Because but they want they expressly want 25 to 30-year-olds.
Yeah, that's a problem.
So you can't. So they're not doing that either.
Oh, I have someone who I want to cast as Donna Troy.
Who?
Jenny Ortega. Wednesday.
I don't know who that is.
The Wednesday show from Netflix.
No, I've never watched it.
Oh, you need to watch it. It's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
The woman who plays Enid would be perfect for Cassie, Wonder Girl. I'm trying to think here. I got one for you.
Who?
The guy who plays Roy on Arrow would be a perfect Tim Drake.
Okay, yeah, I could see that.
Like, he would make for a really good Tim Drake, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. And I think, again, Amell would be a fantastic Batman, because that's pretty much what they made him play.
I like Amell. I love him as a person, but he is not that good of an actor. He has a very thin acting range.
So was Grant Gustin.
But the thing is, Grant Gustin has more personality. He has a lot more charisma than like, and Grant Gustin's a lot more likable, and just honestly, Stephen Amell barely had enough acting chops for Arrow, and even then, a lot of times he just fell flat. Like, his line delivery was just not inspired. Okay. I like Amell as a person. He's a wonderful person. Like, he's a very likable person. It's just his acting was not the best. Whereas Grant Gustin, like, honestly, look at the he's an even better actor than Ezra Miller. Because look at the Crisis crossover where we had both of them. He was running circles around Ezra acting wise. Yeah. Like literally the acting was like million times better on Grant's part than Ezra. Mm-hmm. It was yeah. Sorry.
By the way, I will say one thing. It is It is good, really, when how we're getting a reboot of the movies when the comics are going through like a sort of a soft reboot. So we're kind of going a sort of going back to the basics. So I'm like, okay. The only thing I have a little concern with is that, by the way, James Gunn is writing the new Superman movie, which that could go good, that could go horribly.
I mean,
he has worked on very intense projects before, i.e. Brightburn, which we are going to review on.
But at the same time, he's all like, Guardians of the Galaxy proves he can do Superman, in my opinion.
And what? Actually, hang on. Him directing Green Lantern.
Yeah?
Because that's pretty much Guardians of the Galaxy. Plus, you could have like the main Green Lantern being Guy Gardner or Kyle Rayner and make him a joke, because those characters are very joke. Actually, no, you could do Hal Jordan, because Hal Jordan is basically Star-Lord.
Yeah.
But
Dave Bautista for Kilowog.
Oh, hell yes. Dude, that actually works really well.
Michael Rooker for Sinestro.
Michael Rooker as Sinestro. I'm Sinestro. I'm a Yellow Lantern, y'all.
But no, Dave Bautista as Kilowog is perfect.
I can see him.
Yeah, I can see him perfectly as
because the rumor is that also James Gunn wants to bring in some MCU actors into the DC universe.
Yeah, so and can
you imagine Chris Pratt as Hal Jordan? Actually, I can't imagine that.
No,
because he's pretty much Star-Lord.
I actually think Chris Pratt would be a better Guy Gardner.
Oh, actually, yes, I could see that.
Because have you seen some of Chris Pratt's more serious acting roles? The guy can do serious. Like, I think he could do he looks like Guy Gardner too. Like, you put him in he could do a good Guy Gardner, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's cast like James Gunn adjacent actors in DCU roles. So
okay.
Zoe Saldana.
I could see her as like a Zatanna.
Okay, we're race swapping, but okay.
Or if you don't want to, let me see. Nubia? If you don't want to race swap.
Vixen?
I could see her playing Vixen.
A Mantis for Enchantress.
Yes. I could see Bradley Cooper playing Dexter the Cat. Right?
No, Vin Diesel's gonna play that.
It's like, all he has to do is meow. Wait, he goes, meow, 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 family. Meow, 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 meow. Every third meow is family.
I'm trying to think. Josh Brolin as Atrocitus.
Ooh. Or Darkseid. That would be hilarious if they cast him as Darkseid. Assuming because we may not get Ray Porter back as Darkseid, unfortunately. Even though Darkseid exists outside the multiverse, so a reboot really wouldn't affect him.
Yeah, and there's no reason to recast that actor.
Well, at this point, no one's safe because we thought there was no reason to recast Henry Cavill. So, although it is different because it's voice actors as opposed to like front actors, if you will, but still, we'll see what happens. I expect Darkseid will be. I expect everyone is getting replaced.
Okay, here's a question for you: Cyborg. Who should play Cyborg?
Are we going Marvel actors?
Anybody, any actor is fine.
In terms of Marvel,
although I will say Anthony Mackie would make a good Cyborg.
Yeah, actually, that would actually work out really well. Or he could play Batwing, because that's pretty much Falcon.
that's like another Century Hyperion situation, in my opinion.
Yeah, I know. I could see. I don't know.
What about ScarJo as Wonder Woman?
No, I can't see her. I could see her as Artemis, but I can't see her as Wonder Woman.
Okay.
In terms of Wonder Woman, let's tackle Wonder Woman. I think that in terms of Wonder Woman, if we're going youngish actors, Daddario, maybe.
Okay.
I mean, because remember, we're limited in age.
But I think Daddario is actually a little bit older, actually.
Is she over 30? Because remember, we're going strictly in the 25 to 30-year-old age limit.
Yeah, she's... Oh my god. Like, she's 36 years old.
She's 36?
She doesn't look it. She does not look it.
Okay, then we can't use her. I mean, they could, but I don't think they would go with...
yeah, they want someone they could invest in, honestly.
That's why they recast everyone as younger actors, because they want actors that are going to be around for the whole 10 to
cheaper too. Cheaper.
15-year plan. What?
Cheaper as well.
Keep her? Oh, of course.
Cheaper, I said.
Oh, cheaper. I would say, in terms of Wonder Woman, I don't know that many 30-year-old to 25 to 30-year-old actors that would work.
I'm trying to think of... I don't watch much young adult fiction.
Me neither, so...
Like, I could probably cast, like, the sidekick roles, because, like, I there's, like...
It'll be hilarious is if they cast Connor Leslie from Titans as Wonder Woman. Which I could see, honestly, when you think about it.
Yeah, for sure. But those are kind of out of the league as well.
I know. I was just making a joke, too. It's like if they cast a Nightwing actor as Batman. Who would play Batman? Well, let's do that one. If we're not doing Stephen Amell. Because that's a tough one, too. All these are really tough castings.
If we're going to take age out of it, the guy from Mad Men.
I'm not casting John Hamm as Batman. He'd be a piss poor Batman.
Why? Like, he's a great actor.
No, but I can't see him as Batman. Bruce Wayne, maybe, but not Batman.
Like, seriously, he's got the look. He's got the build.
For Bruce Wayne, not Batman.
Robert Pattinson doesn't have the Batman build.
He has the Batman acting ability.
John Hamm is a great actor.
No, but there's a very specific actor you need for Batman. I cannot see John Hamm as Batman. Bruce Wayne, yes.
You need to watch. Baby Driver.
I did. It didn't convince me.
I'm sorry. Like that scene where he's like go on villain. He's all crazy. I'm sorry. He's got the intensity,
dude. It's like Christian Bale as Bruce Wayne / Batman. He's a better Bruce Wayne, terrible Batman.
All right, counter argument. John Hamm as Two-Face.
Two-Face or Hush? Two-Face I could see. Yes, that 100% I could see him as Two-Face. Absolutely.
Because you got to admit, he's got that kind of crazy intensity that's perfect for Two-Face.
And he does look like someone named Harvey Dent.
Okay, so we'll put John Hamm as Two-Face.
I'll agree that as a compromise. How's that?
Okay.
Now, in terms of Batman, I could go with... Okay,
actually, I know someone who's perfect for it.
Who?
And he's also a really big fan of the source material.
Who?
You.
Oh, of course. I would say... No, I play Superman. What are you kidding me? You play Batman. What are you talking about?
I'm too fat to play Batman, so...
I
can play Fat Man.
But I think I would play a pretty decent Batman.
Okay, question.
If I can keep my beard.
If you could cast Hugh Jackman into a DC role, what would it be?
And I didn't have to worry about age?
Yeah.
Batman.
No, he's not Batman for me.
Mm-hmm. Or Deadshot.
I could see him as a Hush.
Oh, that actually works really well.
Or
a Red Lantern. That would you can hear him scream.
Yeah.
I think, you know what? Let's put a table on. Let's put a pause on this discussion because there'll be a good one for the comments. But in terms of okay, so the last thing we're going to talk about before we log off is where do you think the story is going to be? Because so far all we know is that the Superman movie is going to handle a young Clark Kent coming into Metropolis. It's not going to be an origin story. James Gunn was very clear on that, which I'm like, okay, thank you, because we know Superman's origin.
They're probably gonna do a Spider-Man Homecoming kind of situation where he's been like the hero for about a year, so it's like he's still rather green. Kind of the same thing what they did with the Batman.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where like the Batman is kind of like a year 2 story if you think about it.
If they're doing a younger actor, they could do like the Action Comics thing where he's in the jeans and t-shirt, and at the end of and near the end of it, he gets the armor.
What I'm thinking is, and this is what I'm hoping their overall plan is, they're going to do a set of movies that lead towards a big event film.
Mm-hmm.
A phase 1 plan, if you will.
Like the Justice League. It's going to lead eventually to a Justice League movie.
Question is, what do you think the Justice League movie is going to be? My money is Starro.
Yeah, I was about to say they shouldn't do Darkseid because that's too for right now, because that's too tied to the Snyderverse. So I would do Starro works or Brainiac. Honestly, they could have all the movies. The through line is Brainiac,
but I say Starro because Starro was actually the first Justice League villain.
I think that'll be
and they could literally recreate that classic.
They could do that. You know what? Yeah, they could recreate this cover, and you know what? I'm fine with it being Starro because I think that would be real. But would they do it considering that Starro was already the villain in Suicide Squad? Yeah,
I mean, because you got to imagine it'll be 5 years at least, probably more like 6 or 7 before they get to that film. I think enough spaces happen that they could probably do it.
And you know what? I'm fine with that. And then maybe phase 2 could be Brainiac, or who would be, assuming they go with the MCU plot structure, who would you put as the main bad guy, like the big bad? Would you go Darkseid down the line because we're a little bit separated from the Snyderverse?
The problem with Brainiac as phase 2 is you're running into Ultron comparisons.
True. I got it. Mongol.
Warworld? Okay.
They do a Warworld like thing. Mongol invades.
The phase 1 villain could also be Vandal Savage.
Ooh. Wait. Phase 3. The end is Tower of Babel.
No, actually, phase 1 is Vandal Savage and Starro. Basically, Vandal Savage is trying to unleash Starro.
But dude, this is why. Hear me on this. This is why I say Vandal Savage could be a good like down the line villain, because that way you build up the Justice League, you build up the trust of the team, and then you have Tower of Babel where it's revealed Batman has contingency plans, because that hits harder if you spend so much time with this team and they made you think that Batman trusts all of them.
Yeah, that's problem is you're kind of running into Civil War parallels there.
True.
Like I don't mind them being inspired by the Marvel plans, but they can't copy the story beats. That's
true. I agree with you on no, but I was saying that would be like the final movie.
Yeah, I'm just saying because like Vandal Savage could very easily be a Loki situation for Justice League, which is why I brought in Starro, and like his big plan is to unleash Starro.
Oh yeah, and now that I think about it, Vandal was not the bad guy in Tower of Babel in the comics. That was Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah, Ra's is gonna have to be a part of this at some point.
Oh yeah, he'll be a part of it. He could be phase 2.
Actually,
no,
also,
they can't do that because then there'd be an analogous to Hydra.
So I have the perfect actor
to play Ra's.
Yes, it is Charles
Nicholson, dude.
No, Charles Dance.
Okay, can I see him? I don't know who that is.
He's the guy who played Tywin Lannister on Game of Thrones.
I don't watch Game of Thrones again. Remember?
Okay. I'm trying to think. I'm thinking, should I pull a picture or should I pull up a scene with him?
No, but dude, Mads Nicholson, baby, as Ra's al Ghul. He could do it.
But he looks, but like Charles Dance. Okay, Charles Dance.
How about this? Mads.
If you look at Charles Dance, you can definitely see Ra's al Ghul in him, and also like.
But how about this? Mads as Vandal Savage.
Okay. I mean, honest, because Charles Dance, he always has this very commanding presence. like the I give orders and I expect them to be taken.
I
kind
know
of thing.
that guy. He's been in a lot of other stuff. Yes, I could so see him as Raish.
He's a great actor. He's an amazing actor.
He was in Alien 3. I could see him as that.
He's got that presence that Ray like.
Yes, he does. I 100% am on.
Don't get me wrong. Mads could do Rafe, but like Charles has that presence. He just has that kind of like he just kind of has that stare.
Yes. And there's one more thing I want to establish a rule in our new DC universe. They can't kill the villains after one movie. Because can you imagine? Actually, how about the last? We build up to a Legion of Doom versus the Justice League movie, where each of the villains at the end of every movie they're being recruited, and then the final movie is Justice League versus Legion of Doom. That could be real. That could be a good way of like, because remember in this one in the MCU they built up toward one bad guy. In this they would build up toward a team, and that way you could separate yourself from Marvel, because Marvel straight up kills all their villains. But on that note, I think that's a good place to leave it. I'm cautiously optimistic as well, Nick, because let me put it this way: I'm a DC fan before I'm a Snyder fan. Ultimately. Because as long as the brand is that's why I'm like, you know what? As much as it sucks, it had to happen. But I am glad that I was able to get like the hot toys and the action figures. Henry Cavill will always be in my collection. He will always be my Superman, because that's he's who was Superman when he's my Christopher Reeves, and that's all. That's what I'm going to say on that. Nick, your final thoughts?
This better be good.
It's better be good, because if it sucks, I'm gonna be really pissed.
Yeah,
because I'm like, you could have just fixed it. But let me put it this way. The minute he announced the Superman and Wonder Woman movie, because it looks like younger, new 52 style characters, I'll go, okay, you may be onto something. Well, first off, here's the thing. Even if they don't do the romantic angle, don't you think they should have done a Superman and Wonder Woman team up movie in some way?
I mean, just make Wonder Bat canon. I'll be happy.
All right. So on that note, stay heroic, everyone, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.